Hello and welcome to Compare Foods Thanksgiving edition. We're here at my house. My name is Oscar La Fuente. I'm the chef and owner of Milton Hospitality. We're gonna be doing a twist of Thanksgiving dinner. We created a recipe with pork tenderloin with a cranberry mojo, Chipotle mashed potatoes, and Chorizo Brussels sprouts. Let's get started. So we're gonna start with the mojo. A lot of this prep you can do the night before. We picked the parsley, we washed it. We have the oregano, all measured up, cranberries, and the sherry wine or marsala is here. The recipe calls for sherry wine just because of the alcohol content. We might not be able to find it here at Compare Foods, but we're gonna substitute the sherry wine with marsala wine, which is gonna give you the same sweetness that you're looking for, that we're looking for into the recipe, but without the bitterness. And then we pre-did the Latin wrap. Mojo is pretty much that version of Spanish marinade. There are different countries call it a different name, but it's pretty much the same. You hear more of a mojo coming from the Dominican, Puerto Rico. So we have our frying pan going. It's a little on low heat. We're gonna toast the cumin seeds. Our recipe calls for ground cumin. It's just for convenience. You can use ground peppercorn, ground cumin, ground spices, but you don't know when all those spices have been toasted and grind. In my kitchen, I like to use fresh cumin seeds, fresh peppercorns, because I get to toast them and then grind them on a coffee grinder. About 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and we're gonna add the jalapenos and the rosin and the garlic. The seeds are gonna get toasted. We only want a little bit of the fragrance to come out from the jalapenos and the garlic, but you don't want to burn them. So this is not going to take more than 30 seconds, 45 seconds. We're going to remove them and then we're going to blend everything else. We're done. I'm going to come here. We are going to right there. We're gonna add the cranberries, the oregano and parsley, and then we just need to squeeze about half a cup of oranges. You should just kind of roll it because that kind of really makes them really soft, and it's easier to squeeze most of the juice. Usually 2 large oranges should be enough for about half a cup. So. And then we're gonna add the salt and pepper to it. And then we're gonna blend this. That's pretty much it. So now is about the meat, right? We're gonna prepare the pork tenderloin. So we're here at Compare Foods picking up our pork tenderloin. And what you're looking for is to make sure that there is no really blood or anything in the package. If you want to substitute pork tenderloin, you can use pork loin, but the difference is that you're going to have to brine it, okay? Because it's a little bit tougher. Instead of the 6 hours marinade, you might need to do the pork loin for about 24 hours. So we have a pork tenderloin. We are going to use the same bag for the marinade, so don't throw it away. This is a silver skin. It's a tissue between the muscle and the fat, and it takes a little longer to digest, so I just kind of tend to clean it. So put your knife behind, just in between, and just all the way through. That's it. Get a little bit of the tail because you have a little bit of the fat there. I'm gonna put it back in the bag, and then we're gonna pour our mojo. Try not to have too much air because it's easier to actually marinate and roll it. So shake it a little bit. And then it goes in the fridge for 24 hours. So we're preparing Brussels sprouts with chorizo. You can do this ahead of time. You can clean them, by taking the other leaves if there is a lot of blisters or brown spots, just like you would do with the romaine lettuce. Try to peel them and remove some of the bad leaves. And then you're gonna go to a little bit of the stem, the brown stem, you're gonna cut it, okay? And you don't wanna you can take that off and then cut it in half, okay? You can cut it in half, you can cut it in quarters, depends on how quick you wanna eat them. So we already done some of these the night before, and there I soaked them in a little bit of water. The only thing I need to do is strain them. So one of the things to save you time during Thanksgiving, right? You don't want to start getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So one of the things that we did is peel the potatoes, cut them, put them in cold water, and then we're just gonna be ready to go tomorrow morning. So of course, yukon bowls, okay? The recipe that we created has yukon gold potatoes, but if you cannot find yukon gold potatoes, you can always substitute them with Idaho's, white potatoes, and if you really want to bring some of your sweet taste into your Thanksgiving, I will use the white sweet potatoes. I use a tea peeler, that's kind of what I prefer. If you're Hispanic, like most people, sometimes they don't use peelers. Old school, my grandma used to do it with a paring knife. If your potatoes are turning green in your pantry, don't use them, okay? Cut them in quarters, and then put them in water, goes in the cooler, and they're ready to be used tomorrow. We're gonna sweat a little bit of the cured chorizo that we bought at Compare Foods. So sometimes the visual effect makes a big difference on a dish. So that's why I like using cured chorizo from Spain. Practice makes you faster and better. See how I cut in without looking? All right. So we have all our ingredients. We're gonna come back again to the frying pan, and then we're gonna put them in the oven. I started the oven a little bit earlier. We're sitting at 375. So we're gonna put a little bit of olive oil, nice and hot. And then we're gonna sweat the chorizo. It releases so much fat and so much of the paprika and the spices that they make it with, so good. We're gonna add the Brussels. We're gonna brown this a little bit for about 7 to 10 minutes. We add the garlic. Toss it one more time. And in the oven. So for the mash, we bought adobo peppers. So they come whole. So adobo pepper is a ripe jalapeno. Really good. So what I grab is I put them on this container, and then I grab a hand blender and buzz them, so you get a puree. We already put the pork in the grill. We're gonna wait about 6 minutes for the marks to kind of come really through, and then we're gonna go back outside and flip it, and then grill the other side for another 6 minutes. While all that's going on, we can start the mashed potato if you want. So I have a drain, of course. And then we're just gonna rice the potatoes. If you have a ricer, if you have a hand mixer, you can use it without having to use a ricer. The reason I like to use a ricer is because it becomes a fluffier potato. My preference, I don't know why, it's just something that I learned, that my potato becomes fluffier because I add a little bit of cold to it without having to, it won't overwork, it's gonna melt. By the time that all this will be done, okay? So we have a quarter of a cup of heavy cream and about 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna fold that a little bit. And now we're gonna add the chipotles. It's all up to you, or the dough, it's up to you how spicy you want it, okay? You can do a little bit and you have a little bit of the smokiness and spicy, or you wanna have really spicy food. So I'm gonna use about 1 tablespoon. About half a cup of jack cheddar. Don't overwork it. So that's pretty much, this is pretty much it. So we took the pork tenderloin from the grill, and it's gonna go right into the oven. We're gonna add a little bit of chopped cilantro and parsley. Just gonna fold cilantro, parsley. If you're gonna let that potato sit for the 45 minutes, I will just add the parsley just before serving and fold it back in, because anything green, what happens to green, turns brown, right? So now you have a little bit of speckled green in your mash. Now you get a little bit of the caramelization, and now you can add a little bit of your salt. And we have our pork. And of course, right, you gotta try to make sure that it's salty enough. Yep. That works. And then we're gonna kind of plate this up. You wanna let your pork rest a little bit for about 5 minutes. So that way all the juices don't run out and your meat doesn't become dry. And you can do as high you want it. You can grab a spoon and broil it there, but I wanna make sure that all my guests get a little bit of the chorizo, and we're gonna grab the pork. The ends are gonna be a little bit drier than the rest of them, so I usually cut in the middle. What I will do is just I will add a little bit of EVO. That's it. Buen provecho.